He ignored his gut and dated the person anyway. Why don't we listen to ourselves? Next on It's Not Me, It's You. I'm talking to Keith, and Keith and I are having a conversation about a guy that he was seeing. And Keith, how old are you? All right, you don't have to say that. You don't have to
Early
answer.
30s.
Early 30s, okay. And how old was the boy you were seeing?
He just turned 25.
Okay. Do you normally date guys that are younger than you?
Unfortunately, that's what I'm attracted to physically.
And
I
and
just
ha-
don't
and
have the emotional capacity.
that's pretty consistent.
For the physical aspect, yes.
No, I mean, is it consistent that it doesn't work out emotionally?
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm still single.
I see. So, I we have talked previously about how each of us have something about that where you get to a certain age where you think, okay, well, it's the personality you would think that's supposed to make somebody really attractive, and can I fall in love with that? And is it possible? For years I thought that I couldn't have someone, and I know I'm repeating myself, but with you, but just for anyone listening to this, for years I thought that I couldn't have somebody that I thought was hot and was husband material. And you share in that as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It seems to be one or the other.
Right. Yeah, when we had talked about this guy that you were seeing, first of all, how long were you dating? And you're broken up now, correct?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in my mind, I don't know what he thinks, but it's a done deal for me.
I mean,
Maybe a month and a half.
right. And you were telling me how great he was, and did you think he was the one? I mean, did you think you were on the way to being the one?
Not maybe not the one, but he had a lot of good qualities. Now the other thing to note is it was long distance, so it's not like we were going on dates. This was text messages, phone calls, emails, Facebook, and he was able to talk the talk in order to get my attention. I mean, I was very nervous at first, knowing his age, but he has a degree, he has a job, he pays his bills, so he seemed to have a lot of the qualities that other kids his age are lacking.
Well, yeah,
So
but you admitted to me that you, as most of us do, and I'm not shaming you for it, but you romanticize that. I mean, that worked for you. You would. There was a contradiction, just to bring everyone up to speed, that you had seen things that you told me might be a red flag. Well, is it a little young here or there? The other thing, but you still perpetuated the possibility of it being something real, and you were very invested even in a short amount of time. And in truth, at that point when we first talked about it, you'd only actually been in each other's presence physically how many times and for how long?
maybe twice.
Right.
But the other part, though, the reason that I fantasized about it so much was I had seen him 5 or 6 months prior to us actually dating. I saw him on the beach in Chicago and immediately was drawn to him. And so I chased after him for several months in Chicago, very slowly. Saw him at the gym, got a phone number, talked, texted, went out on a first date, and the first date was terrible.
What was it, emotionally that you thought was a red flag? And my point to this conversation is, and we've all experienced this, is that we see red flags with somebody, and then we think we're just being too judgmental, or maybe, well, there's shortcomings in this person, but I'm compassionate enough. No one's perfect, and we ignore those things. And it seems to be a lot of times what was a problem in the beginning is a problem at the end. So what specifics were there?
No, Dr. Phil, you are spot on because he he was not nice. A friend of mine that was with us there was a couple of people that he met that night, is partially deaf, and he insulted him immediately with his hearing. He also insulted him on where he was from, and a couple of other things, and that was just an immediate turnoff. The second was he had told me that he doesn't drink a lot, and that night he not only had me buy him a drink, but I saw him taking other drinks out of his other friends' hands, and it wasn't the cheap stuff that he was ordering; it was the expensive stuff. on my tab, not really my tab, my dinner tab, but so basically it was that he was not a nice person.
Right.
And that was a big red flag.
It sounds like, and people do this. I mean, there's mature 25-year-olds and immature 25-year-olds. But the point is, he's still 25. But there are 50-year-olds that act that way, where they talk the talk because it's the right thing to say to seem like a good package, but that's not really who they are. And yet you continued the relationship.
I did well. I stopped after that. So after that there was a 4-month break. So that was in June, a 3-month break. That was in June, and I was done with it at that point. But time passed. We ran into each other again, and he seemed a little bit calmer. And I thought maybe because he was a new person around me and my friends that he was on guard, and he was showboating because he was in an uncomfortable environment. And I've been there before, so I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt.
So I want to fast forward just to the meat of it all. Is that you in recent weeks had we're finding that you still were not getting from him what you required while you were having a long distance relationship, kind of passive aggressive, calling and not answering, answering not calling. You decided that you were done. And then you allowed a visit to take place, and he just left, correct?
Correct. He just left this morning.
Right.
So I ended it about 2 weeks ago, and we didn't speak during that period. He didn't reach out to me. I didn't reach out to him. That was fine. And then he posted a little something on Facebook to kind of jab at me. And got my attention, and we started.
And my question too is, I'm gonna stop you there. This is what I want to talk. This is what I want to talk about. Why did it grab your attention? I have some background on you. I know that you have created and manifested a really terrific life for yourself. You had some problems in the past. You really pulled it together. You've created a career where you can travel and work at the same time. You care about your body. You have cleaned house with the people that you socialize with. And so, I guess I'm curious why you don't hold the same bar for this as you do for the rest of your life?
Because I still I don't like people to dislike me, or think that I'm a bad person. And his quote on Facebook that was directed towards me, it didn't call me out specifically, but I knew what it meant, was basically saying that I'm not the person that I said I was.
Right, and it was a quote. Yes, and what I want to offer you, and I know you know this already, but just to support you, number one, I think Facebook is terrible for people that have been dating. I think that whole let's be friends thing, because we think it's the adult or spiritually correct thing to do, I think is bullshit. I think you're too raw, and I think people should unfriend each other and not see what everyone's lives are doing and saying. And it's a shame because, and we've all been there. You read what he said, and it's not true. That when somebody a little left of center says something, we can't take it as truth. We know where you knew where it was coming from, and yet you got sucked into it, and it almost invalidates what you know. What you are true, and I think you mentioned that before, that you have an excellent assessment of your surroundings and being self-accountable, and this person short-circuited that a lot. So I only mention it not.
You're right.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're right, because had I defriended him on Facebook, this last week would have never happened.
Right, and clearly he put that. Would you agree that he put that up to manipulate you? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, how about I buy a plane ticket to come down and see you and talk it out? And I said, oh, okay. For two reasons. One, and being honest, it's Christmas, and I had no holiday plans,
right.
and there's a part of me that wanted to spend Christmas with somebody romantically.
Right, because the truth is, you knew there was nothing to talk out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
There was nothing to talk out, and I just wanted him to be there in a selfish way so that I had somebody to wake up to on Christmas.
I hear you. Nothing wrong with that.
And the second is that there was still a part of me that was fantasizing or romanticizing that entire the week and a half or 2 weeks that we were broken up, was romanticizing that he is the person that I want him to be somewhere deep inside.
That's right. And it is fascinating because when you're dating someone that can give you most of the things, it's impossible for everyone to give you everything, but we make concessions, and that's what an adult relationship is, to put those priorities in order. But the first serious relationship I ever had, I realized years later that what didn't work about it wasn't his fault. It's just that it didn't work for me. And therefore I did not fully respect and appreciate and acknowledge who he was. I called those things shortcomings. And we do romanticize quickly, but and might I offer to you that what you saw in there were wonderful things that you want. It's the closest thing in several ways to what you are looking for, but it's only bits and pieces. And we have to go, but what I want to end this by telling you that I applaud you for the self-examination, and I applaud you for, even when it was difficult, doing everything you could with your communication skills to show clarity and to exhaust. Some people would say, well, why did you open yourself up to it again? But you can only fully walk away when you know that you have explored every...
Exhausted all, exactly.
That's right. Not to the point of being stepped on. You're not a doormat. You can still have structured rules of engagement. But the fact that you were able to explore every corner, and then you know that you can walk away clean. And
right, and I think the incident 2 weeks ago, there wasn't complete closure for me. The way that I ended it was very abrupt and not a great way to communicate or to have closure. But this week, everything you're saying is correct. This week allowed that closure, and we explored the last little bit of anything, if there was anything there, and there is nothing there. They're explored. Those doors have been shut, and
that's right.
And
let me just say, it didn't work out, but there's no failure in that. I hope that you acknowledge you can be conscious of the choices you're making as that guy is coming towards you, the next guy, listening to your filter, and, saying no if you have to, just because you're going to listen to your insides, and maybe go outside your comfort zone for sensibilities that you're not used to, things that you feel like aren't there that should be there or might be there. Or a lot of times we don't want to engage because we don't feel it initially, and we don't want to disappoint anybody. But that's what dating is about, and everybody takes that risk. So you're only responsible for being kind and open and honest, and and they're responsible for the same, and treating each other with respect, which you do.
I think the key point too is self-evaluation and being able to evaluate during the process. Well, listening to yourself.
That's right. First of all, I always say you don't get a cookie for self-analyzation. I dated someone who, when I would say, he'd say, I have a problem with that, and I'd say, great, let me try to work on that and reach towards the middle, and then I would tell him I have a problem with that, and he'd say, well, that's who I am. So, right. You don't get a cookie for self-examination. It's what are you going to do about it to participate? And like you said, the more conscious you are of it, to see it before it happens and make a different choice. So it's to break the chain. I mean, that doesn't happen right away. First you notice it after, then you realize in the middle, hey, I'm in the middle of this, and then hopefully eventually you see it coming. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and comment on our YouTube page at youtube.com/MeUWebShow.